Hello, it's Moonbay with another video, I guess, which is about good karma versus bad karma. Also, everything that comes with karma, so like karmic cycles, karmic loops, things like that. So first, I guess I'm gonna start with recognizing bad karma. So usually if you've got bad karma, you're gonna have a lot of technical difficulties. So a lot of weird things are gonna happen with technology around you. Your phone's probably gonna fall in water, or your screen's gonna start glitching a lot. Maybe your phone's gonna start dying out of nowhere. Your screen's gonna shatter, stuff like that. The reason why this happens, what I personally believe, is because we're so advanced now and we're always on our devices, we're always online and whatnot. Sometimes we really don't stop and look at the world around us. So I think this is the universe's way of saying stop and actually pay attention to the things going on in your life. Another huge sign that you're getting hounded by bad karma is usually when you feel like things are happening over and over and over again. That's definitely being stuck in a karmic loop, which anyone could recognize that. A lot of people, though, will see that the same things are happening over and over again, but because of the ego, they will kind of sit in these lower vibrations because it's familiar to them and it's comfortable. So they're like, it's fine. It's really not, but it's fine. The reason why this happens, once again, is because the universe is trying to teach you a lesson and bring about positive change, and you're resisting. Because you're resisting this positive change, they can't bring good things to you. So instead, you're going through these same negative things over and over again. Another huge sign that you're in a karmic loop or you're having bad karma is depression, anxiety, things like that. The reason why you're sad is because your self-conscious, or even your higher self, knows that you deserve better and knows that you need to be in another place, but you're kind of settling. And that's another thing with anxiety as well. If you go to places you shouldn't be going, that's not really good for your mental or emotional health. Even if you're surrounding yourself with negative people, you're gonna feel very anxious. The reason why is because your body is like rejecting this behavior and telling you like you need to dip, and you're not doing it because you're like, but I've had these friends since high school. Okay, that doesn't matter. It is hard to let things go, but sometimes that's really what the world is trying to show you. And maybe it's not always necessarily like cut them off, get rid of them, It could also be something as simple as your conversations don't have any depth. You need more sincerity, you need more honesty, you need more clarity, You just need something more than what you're getting. So now, how to recognize good karma. So recognizing good karma is sometimes literally nothing happens at all, but you wake up and you're just so excited and you're so happy. The reason why is because, death of one cycle and then you go into a new one. I also see, sorry to flip back and forth, but I also see depression and anxiety as you're almost out of your karmic cycle, because I feel like once you feel as low as you can get, the only place you can go besides that is obviously up. So when you're like laying in bed crying like, will it ever get better? Like then the next day out of nowhere, you're just like on top of the world and you're just like, oh, it did, what? So that's the first and probably the best sign of good karma, just being happy in general. Another really good sign of good karma, positive energy coming your way, is creativity. Like if you're thinking about trying things you've never tried, or you're thinking about doing things you've never done, boom, like do it. Another sign that you've got some good karma coming your way is when you are surrounded by like-minded people. in the beginning, when I first became spiritual and whatnot, I had a lot of toxic people around me. So I felt like I was doing something wrong, but in actuality, this was just the universe's way of telling me that I needed to fix my own toxic traits. So once I started doing more self-work and stuff like that, then people that I've known for years who were never spiritual suddenly started partaking in their own spiritual journey. And I just thought that was so weird, because you really don't feel like you make an impact, but you could just be happy and the universe is going to feel that wave. Other people are going to start being happy too. We're all, reflections of one another, and everyone's on their own soul journey. So it's just really interesting. So ways to get out of bad karma. Okay, so ways to get out of negative energy and out of these negative loops. Okay, so the first place where you start needs to be acceptance. But not acceptance of the negativity around you, but the acceptance of truth. So a lot of times people will, back to the example of friends, people will have really negative friends, but instead of leaving the friendship or telling their friend about things that bother them and upset them, they just shrug it off and they're like, it's fine. That's not going to change anything. But once you sit down and say, hey, that friend actually really hurts my feelings when they say things like this, I need to let them know. This is going to move you forward. Taking action is probably the best way to get out of negative energy, and also changing your mindset. That's also very important. So once you stop being pessimistic, that's going to also shove you in the correct direction. The reason why is because people don't know how powerful they really are. But once you're really sad and you're like, nothing's ever gonna go right for me, you're gonna start pulling in more of these things that show you that, yeah, nothing's ever gonna go right for you. Why? Because that's what you wanted. Of course, no, that's not what you want, but that's pretty much what you're asking for. Another way to get out of bad karma is by, I think, being honest with yourself about your own flaws. A lot of people like to point their fingers and say, so-and-so did that, so so-and-so is so trash. But like, a lot of times we overlook our own mistakes. And the thing with people making mistakes or not being their most authentic selves, or even them being in low vibrations, once again, we're all reflections of one another. So that's just the universe showing you where you need to edit your own self and you need to grow. Another thing about getting out of negative karma is about viewing the world and viewing other people negatively. If you view things as bad, you will never find good, because you're only looking for bad. But if you're like, yeah, so-and-so has a really intense temper and they kind of need to tone it down sometimes, but I understand so-and-so has also been through a lot. I'm not saying make excuses for people, but of course you need to put yourself in people's shoes and be like, well, a lot of things kind of suck for them. So I understand why they're angry. They deserve to be angry. Or even people who are very loud, who yell a lot. A lot of people are like, she needs to shut up. But in reality, it's like, maybe this person just feels unheard. Maybe they really feel misunderstood. And you being that person who understands them, that's gonna go such a long way. But of course, you don't have to tolerate anything that you don't want to tolerate. And that is also a very good thing about negative karma. A lot of people feel like they don't have control, but you do. You can leave these places. You can stop talking to these people. You can change up your friend group. There's nothing wrong with change. Change is, it could be, difficult, of course, especially when you're used to something else, but do you want to be comfortable or do you want to be happy? Do you want to be comfortable or do you want the things that you've asked the universe for? Like, I just don't understand when people sit in this chaos and they say they want things to change, but they never work for it. So if you want change, you have to bring about change, but you always start from within. You always change your own perspective, and you edit your own belief system, as well as editing the way you view people. If you see people in like a dark, negative light, it's just gonna make it a lot easier for people to see you the same way. But if you're accepting and you're unconditionally loving to yourself and to others, you're gonna send love into the universe, and the universe is gonna bring it back to you, which is why out of nowhere you're like super happy and super excited after you cut that person off who you felt like needed to go for a long time. Yes, it was a lot easier to hold on to them because you cared for them, but you always care for yourself first. You always put yourself first. I would give tips on how to bring in positive karma and good karma, but honestly, I just feel like as soon as you sever your ties with negativity and with the past, good karma just starts coming in on its own. It's not really something that you make happen. It's just something you work towards, and the universe makes it happen for you naturally. That was a lot of words, really fast. I just really felt like I needed to make this video. Why am I like this? Because, well, I just felt like I was in a karmic loop for a really long time, and every time I wanted positivity in my life, there would be nothing but negativity. And I kept feeling like, oh, I'm just so hopeless. Oh my God, nothing's ever gonna work out for me. But then I really stopped and thought about things I do. I'm a very powerful communicator, and I always expect other people to be just as powerful. I like to write poetry and write stories and things like that. So I'm very wordy when I communicate, and some people aren't. And a lot of times I would just be like, oh, they sent me this one word response because they want me to be angry. But like sometimes people just A, don't know what to say, and B, they just talk like that. Honestly, if it really upsets me that bad, I can just leave them on red. I can just not respond. I can just stop talking to them. It's that simple. And once I realized that, I just felt a lot more free, because then I realized I don't need other people to communicate. Once again, I write poetry, so why can't I just sketch in my notebook? I guess. Write in my notebook, and that will bring in positive energy as well. Which that's probably the biggest tip I'd give for someone who's stuck in a karmic loop. Paper and pencil is very important, especially if your technology is all crazy. Paper and pencil can't really be destroyed, you know? I mean, I guess if you rip it up or someone steals it or trashes it, but like, it's a lot more firm than putting something on your phone notes, because then your phone gets splashed with water and those notes are all gone. But once you sit down and just write, you have that forever if you want, you know? And that's just so powerful. So once you really go out and start taking control of things, but not control in a sense where you're like, this needs to be like that, this needs to be like that, and this needs to be like that. I see control and surrender, because once you look at someone and see them for who they are, and instead of saying, you suck, you're like, okay, well, this is you, and this is the journey you're on, and this is me, and this is the journey I'm on. You just kind of decide whether you want to sever ties. Do you want this person in your life or not? Or if you simply want to support them, because you don't know what it's like to be someone else. And also, even with the world is very dark right now. We've got a lot of aggression, a lot of hostility, and we've got things like Corona and stuff like that. And I feel like that's just a reflection of us as people. A lot of people are in this very dark mindset and they're very pessimistic, so the entire universe is feeding off of that energy. So it's good to be the light in the world, because you make such a huge shift and you make things a lot lighter. No, you don't have to be there 24/7 for that friend who's always sad about something, because those are energy vampires. They see you're doing better and they want you to do the work for them instead of them doing it for themselves. So it's good to know when you need to protect your own energy and to draw back, which is another thing about negative karma. A lot of energy vampires are going to be around, and it's not about being aggressive with them. You don't have to cuss someone out in order to be assertive. You can simply say, not today. No, I'm not your therapist. And it's just that simple. And then once you do that and you start, being more positive, focusing on yourself more and focusing on the things you want in your life, a lot of changes will come about, I guess, and a lot more things are gonna come your way, and it's kind of freaking awesome. So yeah, I guess that's all I really had to say. I just really feel bad because I've got a bunch of friends who I see that go in this loop, and they know they're going in this loop, but they're just angry, instead of really being like, hey, I don't have to deal with this, or hey, I can change this. A lot of people really just don't believe that they've got the power to make a shift within themselves, but you do. Like, it's your life. Please live it how you want to. And